Good morning, Cityside. How you feeling? How you feeling? Feeling good with all of our blessings. D. God is my source. God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. That's right, let's sing it again. God is my source, God is my source, God is my power. God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Let's sing about love. Love is my source. That's right. Love is my power. Yeah, baby. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Sing it again. Love. Love is my source. Love is my source. Love is my power. Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. Hey. Yes. God gives me everything I need. Love gives me everything I need. So I just want you to take a moment, close your eyes. Put your feet on the ground. Darrell Jones, get back up here. So it feels so good to be with this man again, singing, sharing music and thought and conscious ideas. We go back about 20 years, and I am so blessed and grateful to know this person. Oh, yes. Hey. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. Sing along. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I'm so blessed in the moment in which I know as I wake up to the morning sun, and it enriches my soul to feel that I'm alive, that I take one more step forward to whatever it is that I need in my life, to fuel my soul, to ignite my ideas, to understand that the divine is here guiding me, leading me to the unexpected, in which it will reveal to me in the moment of my truth that I know, that I love, that I seek, that I desire, that I feel. As I inhale into this life and into this inner knowing in which I know all is good, God is good, all is great. I'm so grateful. more time, sing. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. Oh, said I am so blessed. Oh, I am so grateful and so blessed. I am so blessed. Oh, for everything deep in my soul. And I know that I'm so blessed. Oh, I'm so blessed. Yes, I am. Oh, I am so blessed. I am so blessed. Oh, I am so blessed. Good morning, City Side.
Morning. Oh my gosh, thank you, Tiffany and Darrell. Thank you. Ah, how blessed we are to have such beautiful music and such beautiful souls making music for us, right? Good morning, Cityside. Good morning, live streamers. Or if you're watching the recording, good morning from my electronically magnetized self. Glad you're all here today. Oh, wait a second. So if you're here for the first time, we really especially want to welcome you, whether you're online or in person, and we really encourage you to come visit us in person. There's something really special about when we come together face to face and energy to energy, heart to heart, that really makes a profound difference. So I really hope you'll come visit us at 1821 West Hubbard. There's plenty of parking, and we would love to see you. We here at Cityside, we embrace new thought and wisdom paths. We practice a philosophy rather than a religion. So you may hear some religious terminology. We'll use it. I know we were using the lyric God in the lyric, and so I really invite you to find your own meaning of what that is for you. And I would just share that for me, that is that inner power for good that is present within. And I know that it is within me, and I know that it is within each and every single one of you. So just honoring that today. And we honor all paths to this enlightenment, to this thing called God, to this thing called unconditional love. And we practice this thing called oneness, where we know that we are one with it. It is not something separate and apart, but we are one with this love, this joy, this source, this thing called God. We are really about providing a supportive community for you to discover that power within, for you to discover that good within, and for you to have it show up in your life in ways expected and unexpected, and to deepen and expand that awareness. We have, hopefully you got a flyer as you were coming in, and on there is a little black box that has our mission on it. And so I always like to, we have this in our script, and I think it's a really good idea to reaffirm why we come together and what these words have meaning and depth. So I just invite you to share those words aloud with me as we read. We envision an empowered community that is living in a world of unconditional love in action. Our mission is to create safe spaces to explore and deepen our faith, grow in spiritual relationship, and connect with our authentic nature. How beautiful. Thank you for sharing that with me. We are a social media friendly church, and what that means is please hashtag or whatever it is you do on social media to let people know that you're here. And that you're having a wonderful experience. And so share the live stream, share the experience that you're having at Cityside, and grow our community. And I also just invite you for the next 40 minutes, 45 minutes or so, just really be present with us here in the space. Just give yourself the gift of connecting to that inner truth and connecting to the sharing that we'll be doing today. And today we have our own Reverend Darrell Jones speaking. who's become our regular speaker. Yay! So joyful. It's always a good Sunday when Darrell is here, for sure. And his talk title is God's Work is Done. How about yours? So this should be very intriguing. I was thinking about this, and for me, my work right now is really being present with what's happening within me, the feelings and the emotions and all the feelings that are going on without judging, but just being present and feeling what I'm feeling. And as Darrell had taught me many years ago, just kind of asking that question or making that statement, isn't that interesting? Wonder what that's all about. And just allowing it to be, allowing myself to be. And so I just will do our icebreaker, and I'm just inviting you to maybe share a prayer request of how you want to, what it is that you're calling forth for a deeper understanding, a deeper presence in your life. For me, it's connection. So what is your prayer request today? And I just invite you to say hello to somebody maybe you don't know. And share that. Open up a little. And for live streamers, I would just ask you to kind of hold that in mind, and maybe we can take that into prayer later.
No, I don't. Okay, if we can make our way back to our seats, come back into the room for our reading and meditation. So good morning again, Cityside and Cityside on live stream. My name is Reverend Judy Randiger-Meza, and I am part of the leadership team here at Cityside. I'm here to offer our reading, meditation, and prayer. So our reading today is a simple quote from Joel Goldsmith. And it says, God's work is done, finished and complete, but it is unfolding to our conscious awareness in proportion as we learn the truth and how to bring ourselves into harmony with that truth. The next step is not up to God. It is up to you and me. And so we just simply now take these words into a silent meditation, allowing them just to sink into our spiritual hearts, leaving our thinking behind, and simply, as always, noticing our breath, breathing in and breathing out, breathing in and breathing out, releasing and letting go. And so, staying in this sweet meditative space, we simply allow ourselves to continue to come into the presence of the One, to be present to the one Spirit, the one source, the one life, the one love, the one peace, the one grace that some people call God, but by whatever name is here, present now, always. And what blessed joy it is to know that I am one with the one with this joy, with this peace, with this love, with this grace, that I am not a drop in the ocean, as Rumi says, but I am an ocean in the drop. And I know that each and every person here is that ocean as well, that ocean of love, of grace, of joy, of peace, the Spirit of God, the whole Spirit of God, and it is present here now. And it is from this place of oneness that I simply speak a word of blessing upon our time together, knowing that in this oneness, in this grace and love, wonderful things occur today. And I simply bless Reverend Darrell as he shares his message about God's work and our work and how we can just open ourselves up more fully to it, knowing that he has done this work and that we are all uplifted and get the message we most, each of us individually, need. And I bless all of the hearts and hands that came together today to make this service possible, as always, our tech teams and our leadership team and the beautiful music that we enjoy so often here today, every day, and all those who have made their way here to be present with us, to share the oneness, to share the joy. And so it was with deep gratitude and abundant blessings, I simply release this prayer. I call it all good. And together we say, and so it is, Aho, Ashe, Amin, Amen.
knew that it would come. An old true friend of ours was talking on the phone. She said, you found someone. I thought of all the bad luck and the struggles we went through, how I lost me and you lost you. What are these voices outside life's open door? Make us throw up our contentment and beg for something more. I'm learning to live without you now, but I miss you sometimes. The more I know, the less I understand. All the things I thought I'd figured out, I had to learn them again. Oh, I've been trying to get down to the heart of the matter, but my will gets weak and my thoughts seem to scatter, and I think it's about forgiveness. Forgiveness, even if you don't love me anymore. These times are so uncertain. There's a yearning undefined in people filled with rage. We all need a little tenderness. How can love survive in such a graceless age? Pride and competition that can lead to happiness are the very things we kill, I guess. Pride and competition can't fill these empty arms, and the work you put between us, you know it doesn't keep me warm. I'm learning to live without you now, but I miss you, baby. The more I learn, the less I understand. All the things I thought I'd figured out, I had to learn them again. Oh, I've been trying to get down to the heart of the matter, but everything changes, and my friends seem to scatter, and I think it's about forgiveness. That's right, forgiveness, even if you don't love me anymore. You don't love me anymore. Said you don't love me, no. Said you don't love me. Hey. Say you don't love me. Oh. I've been trying to get down to the heart of the matter, but everything changes, and my thoughts seem to scatter, and I think it's about forgiveness. 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 Mr. Greg Woods.
Give it up for Miss Tiff. So I wasn't planning on going here with it, but I gotta follow spirit. So Reverend Don Henley, we gotta look at his sermon known as this song called The Heart of the Matter. You may have not caught all the lyrics, but just listen to this for a second. So this is a song obviously about love, right? A love to someone out there. But I want you to embrace a minute that this is a song of love towards yourself. I'm learning to live without you now. The idea of yourself that you think you should be. What if you let go of that and get down to the heart of the matter? Forgive yourself for not being who you think you should be, but embracing the brilliance that you are right now. It requires forgiveness. It requires surrender. It requires release. Man, Reverend Don Henley. Okay, good morning, Cityside. In the flesh, out in the digital world, in a different time and space, watching this maybe next Tuesday. What's up? It's a joy to be here, and I am always honored when Reverend Amy asks me to be here and to connect with you all. And it's July, and Reverend Amy said, we're going to talk about freedom of thought. And we're asking everyone who's speaking to focus on a specific new thought, author, speaker, theologian, whatever, designation you want to give to them. And I immediately said, I know who it's going to be, Joel Goldsmith. Anyone a fan know who Joel Goldsmith is? I'm not talking about Joel Osteen. Not that I'm hating on him. I like him too. He's a contemporary. Joel Goldsmith was on the planet from 1892 to 1964. You were speaking about Emma Curtis Hopkins last week. He was a contemporary, and in that same vein of thought where they used the power of spiritual mind treatment, aka prayer, to affect a different experience in life. We're going to get into that in a minute. But Joel Goldsmith, interesting guy. I didn't realize this until this week. I did a little research on him. He was born in New York to non-practicing Jewish parents, but somehow found his way into this Christian Science idea. His dad had severe illness and was healed by a Christian Science practitioner. And he, too, was on a long voyage back in the day when there really weren't tons of airplanes going across the world. He was on a ship to London, or I think coming back from London, and got pneumonia. And he was healed by a Christian Science practitioner, freed himself of that congestion. And it just already, I think, added to his interest in consciousness studies. And he went on to just prolifically write and practice. He was actually a textile guy. But people just started coming to him, asking him to know a truth, to speak a word, to heal them. The book that I particularly looked at was The Art of Spiritual Healing. If you haven't read this book, if you're not familiar with Joel Goldsmith, give it a go. It is a little dated. It is very religion-y from the standpoint of God is referred to as he. So it is dated, but the principle doesn't change. You feel me? So we're going to talk about the principle that he brought forward. And in the context of freedom is how I want to look at it. As you know, I love definitions. I love to look and frame and contextualize how we're talking about things. So I want to read a couple of definitions of freedom to start us off this morning. And I'm opening up my timer so I don't talk until tomorrow. Okay. And you'll sit here the whole time. Thanks, sis. So freedom. There's a couple of ways we can think about freedom. There's a specific way I want you to think about it today, but I want to just acknowledge some of the definitions that we have. Freedom, the absence of subjection to foreign domination or despotic government. What? Okay, so wars. Freeing ourselves from others that are imposing upon us a belief system, a way of governing, right? Everyone understands that level of freedom. That's what most of us are fighting for in the world, especially those of us with guns and concern about walls and barriers and things along those nature. Another definition, the power or right to act, speak, or think as one wants without hindrance or restraint. That's a definition of freedom that we definitely embrace and celebrate in this country, right? We should be able to walk around and be and say and do who we are. Doesn't mean we don't care about others. Sometimes it does for people, and that's unfortunate, not understanding the impact of their words. But ultimately, freedom being this idea of the power or the right to act or speak as we choose. That is the foundation of this country. Yes? What we just celebrated a few weeks ago. The definition I really want us to grapple with today is the state of not being imprisoned or enslaved, which can seem old, right? It's like, well, slavery, that happened a long time ago. You know, people only get imprisoned when they do something wrong, when they kill someone, when they, break in and steal something, whatever it may be. That's a physical imprisonment. That's a physical enslavement. But we're going to explore a mental and spiritual enslavement. We are the captors and the captives. We enslave ourselves with so many things in our mind and consciousness. So the freedom that we're looking at today, this mental or spiritual freedom, is an unbinding, an undoing, a loosening of the things that hold us captive, the things that imprison us, the things that enslave us. So what does this have to do with the talk title that I gave? That God's job is complete. What about yours? The basic premise of this is that all that is possible already exists. Just chew on that. Let that sink in a little bit. All that is possible already exists, has always existed, and everything to come already exists as a possibility now. We're going to get to the quantum level in just a minute. Our work is discovering, revealing, and connecting to that completion. God's work is already done. And I really want you to step way back and much, much bigger than simplifying God to being a personality that gets mad and withholds or has a judgment or opinion of you. This idea and notion of God has nothing to do with a personality that I'm inviting you to entertain today. This is just the essence of life, the law that Ernest Holmes spoke about, that Emma Curtis Hopkins spoke about, that Joel Goldsmith speaks about. The universe, the expansiveness of this thing, it's already done. It's complete. Long before we put satellites into the atmosphere, things were happening of their own will. We didn't have to influence anything. Anything. This planet has been spinning for millennia, taking care of itself. It didn't need us. We think we're doing something to better it. We may beg to differ. It's taking care of itself. The wheel was already in motion. God's work was already complete. An example that Goldsmith offers in the book is around the turn of the last century, in the 1900s, there was this fear in the United States that there weren't going to be enough horses to do all of the work that needed to happen as this country continued to grow and expand in population. Most notably, farming, right? They were using horses to till the land and to move things about. And there was this legitimate fear that they weren't going to be able to have a great enough stock of horses. And it became this little crisis thing. And then what happened right after the turn of the century? We get in them every day. We put horsepower inside metal, and have it combust and spin. So we still use horses, they still used horses, but all of a sudden you had horsepower in this little thing that you could put in a box with wheels on it, known as a car, a truck, a combine, a tractor. And his whole point is if we constricted ourselves to think we just have to make more horses, where would we have been? We laugh at that now, but at one point in time, people were just trying to think about, how can we make more horses? We got to make more horses. We got to make more horses. There were some other minds, thankfully, that were not thinking about the tangible physical horse with hair and muscles and hooves. It was, how can we harness this power that God already had in motion? Right? Like, that idea existed way before it was invented. We just had to discover it. As many of you know, my beautiful and amazing wife is a chiropractor. And I get so jazzed up whenever I hang out with her and her colleagues. You know, I love nerds. And when she's a nerd, it's a term of endearment. When I go to a conference with her and they get into a conversation and they start talking about what it means to adjust a body so that it can take care of itself, they use this language of innate intelligence. It's the B.J. Palmer. The exact same time that all of this new thought was happening in the spiritual world was happening with chiropractic care. That's when it came about. There was this idea of like, wait a minute, this is a machine. God has already created this thing, right? We just get together and hook up and pop another one out. But the system, the organism, has already been created. We aren't trying to figure out, although some people are trying to engineer bodies today, but we don't re-engineer the idea of a heart and how it works with the veins and how it works with the arteries. We don't re-engineer the idea of a tricep and a bicep and how it lands in the arm so that it can move an arm back and forth. No, all of that was already done. The challenge is that something happens every once in a while and we get out of alignment, but there's an innate intelligence that takes care of itself. We just need to come back into alignment with it. Some would call prayer or spiritual mind treatment a mental adjustment. Just like we adjust the spine or we adjust or set a bone in the physical world, Joel Goldsmith and some of these other new thought pioneers were inviting us to think about, can you reset, can you realign your consciousness with this idea that has already been complete? The possibility of life is already done and complete. Will you just accept that? And if accepting that is a possibility, what might be available for you to actually see? So the quote that Reverend Judy read, I will read again. God's work is done, finished and complete, but it is unfolding to our conscious awareness in proportion as we learn the truth and how to bring ourselves into harmony with the truth, how to align ourselves with that truth. The next step is not up to God. It is up to you, and it is up to me. We are here to unbind, unshackle ourselves from paradigms that no longer serve us. Unshackle ourselves from beliefs, from ideas, from systems that are conscious and unconscious, the behaviors that add to and possibly take away, the things that don't serve us anymore. We are here to become aware of them, unshackle ourselves, take them off, and free ourselves. That's freedom. How do we unshackle ourselves? The offering by so many of the new thought teachers was spiritual mind treatment or prayer. That we're not trying to take a physical shackle off of our bodies. We're trying to take a mental or spiritual or conscious shackle off of our mind. And this idea that Reverend Don Henley talked about with forgiveness, right? Forgiveness is the practice of letting go and releasing, unbinding ourselves from paradigms that no longer work. To turn our mental attention towards the possible good in our lives as opposed to focusing on the dropping of the shoe, the storm that may be possibly coming. Before we get into that, one cautionary note that Joel Goldsmith brought forward was thinking about the relationship that we want to have with God, the relationship that we have with the universe, the relationship we have with creativity. And he basically says, God is not your servant. The universe is not here to serve you. Do you really believe that God or the universe is an instrument made for your pleasure? Now, I can see some people going, but wait a minute, I'm supposed to live a good life. I'm supposed to feel good. God's supposed to work with me. But if we go to God saying, oh God, please give me this. Oh, I really want this relationship so bad. I just need $10,000 more, God. Please give it to me. We get into this pleading situation, and all of a sudden, we completely disempower ourselves. We disconnect from the truth that we are an expression of God already. We're trying to grab and reach for thin air, as if God's going to manifest something out of nothing. God has already done the work and manifested you. That's enough. The challenge is that our mind steps out of the fact that we are God made manifest, that we have within us all of the pure potentiality that we need. But we start looking outside of ourselves and think, oh, this thing over here is going to give it to me. And we hold on tight for dear life, so tight that it starts to not be able to breathe, and it dies, and it no longer serves us. And all of a sudden we go, wait, what do I do now? This thing over here, this was my salvation. This was the thing that was going to make my life a certain way. All of a sudden we're shackled. We're not free. It may give us a little temporary fix, but we're not free. So be careful that we don't turn God or the universe or this practice of spiritual mind treatment or prayer into this thing of we are pleading and trying to coerce and just present ourselves that we're really good. I didn't mean to say that the other day to my mom. I'm really a nice person. Of course you're a nice person. Own that you are powerful and that you are human and sometimes you get upset. That does not diminish your worthiness to accept and have the power of the living Spirit move through you. Take a deep breath in for a minute. And as you exhale, close your eyes if it feels comfortable and let your imagination open. And let your imagination picture the last 48 hours of your living. And see if you can do a quick little assessment of how much mental, emotional, and spiritual time and energy you spent on the possibility of God expressing as amazingness in your life. And then how much time and energy, emotional and spiritual prowess you spent on the other shoe dropping, on trying to prepare for the next catastrophe in your life. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let your eyes open. You can raise your hand or not, but just be really honest with yourself. Did you spend more than 50% of your energy on the possibility of God as your life, or did you spend less? More? Awesome. Less? Okay. There's nothing right or wrong about that. This is a practice of awareness, knowing who and where we are minute by minute, day by day, so that we can course correct and get back into alignment. Because guess what? You're going to fall out of alignment. Just like with my wife and someone in their physical body, they're going to stub their toe and fall down and hit their knee. They need to get back into alignment physically. That's just a condition of the world. Your mind is going to get charged by something that someone says on Facebook. God bless Facebook. I love you. and you drive me crazy at the same time, it's going to trigger something within you that pulls you so far out of the game and the authenticity that you are, and you're going to camp out there for a little bit. And you're going to talk to people about it. And as soon as you realize that you are off your game, you are off your center, you are off your truth, that you are not fully expressing and embodying the possibility of the divine that you are inherently here to be, all you need to do is find a way to come back. Remind yourself. Speak some words of affirmation and truth. One of my favorite turns of phrases that came from Ernest Holmes was that we are chemists in the laboratory of mind, or chemists in the laboratory of consciousness. What shall you produce? I'm in the preparation stage of facilitating a meditation teacher training this fall at Chill, and have been rereading some of the texts that we're using. And one of them is from a research scientist just down the road in Madison at the University of Wisconsin. And in the beginning of his book, he's talking about being a scientist and doing research. And he said, research in science is challenging because when you research something that doesn't already exist, or you research something that is a possibility that isn't accepted by everyone, it is challenging an existing paradigm. It's challenging an existing paradigm of thought, and it is not easy. And listen to this. If you haven't paid attention to anything yet today, hear this. Challenging an existing paradigm of thought is not easy, and failure is frequent. Failure is frequent until the moment of breakthrough or shift. So think about that for a minute. In a laboratory, someone has a great idea. They have a hypothesis. They don't just go in and 15 minutes later, boom, damn, it's done. It's proven. Yes, give me the Nobel Peace Prize. They have spent probably sometimes decades failing over and over and over again until that moment of breakthrough. And all of a sudden, it feels like a heavenly moment. What I want to challenge you with today is to let some failure and challenge be okay. To be a true research spiritual scientist in your world. Challenge the paradigms that are working and operating for you right now. Some of them may still work, and some of them may not be serving you. But it's not easy to challenge those paradigms. It really isn't. And failure will be frequent. But you just keep coming back. You keep coming back. You keep treating your mind to turn away from that thought of, I'm not worthy. Yeah, but that one time when I was 8, they told me I wasn't good enough. Yeah, but you are good enough. I am good enough. Be Stuart Smalley on Saturday Night Live. Doggone it, people like me. But that's what an affirmation is, right? You are turning your attention towards the possibility of God. You are turning your attention towards this idea that God's work has already been complete. You are complete as you are. We forget that. And most of the time we start chasing things down the hallway. Wait a minute, I forgot myself. Hey, self, come here, please. For me, it's usually like, 20 pounds less, Darrell, where are you? But I'm never going to catch up with that unless I embrace the 20-plus pound Darrell right now and love him and fail with him and eat 2 donuts when I don't even need 1. But I keep turning my attention back towards the possibility that the divine living expression of God, known as me, in this body is here now. Not based upon any condition, not based upon a number on the scale, not based upon who is in or not in my life, not based upon a dollar amount in my bank account, not based upon how old my clothes are, how long my hair is, what color it is, if I have it, if I don't. what's happening in the government and what's not happening in the government, I am a divine expression of the Holy Spirit, always, now, and forever, and ever, and ever, and ever. And so it is. So here's another quote that I'll start to bring us to a close with. There is no need to struggle. Take a deep breath into that. Because most of us go, yes, that's awesome. Applaud. But then we go, how? Listen, there is no need to struggle. Relax in the realization that in all this universe, there is only God appearing as you and me. God's own undivided selfhood is individualized as you and me. Divine harmony is our destiny. It is the destiny of every individual, whether they are living in good or bad health, whether they are living in saintliness or sinning. The ultimate destiny of everyone is divine harmony when we awaken. Most of us walk around asleep. A very slang term that has been around for a while, but after Ferguson, Missouri, was stay woke. Stay woke. It was about falling asleep to how racism and how duplicity and otherness was still alive in this country. And so the call was to stay awake. Don't fall asleep. Don't think that everything is comfortable and good for everyone on the planet, because it's not. So just as we look out into our civic and social responsibility, also stay woke in here. Stay woke to the idea and the truth that you are a divine living spirit. And nothing actually increases or decreases that. It just is. And if you think something else other than that, then you're off center. You're not good or bad, you're just off center. And what you need to do is speak a word to bring yourself back to that center. Get curious or interested. What you said, oh, isn't that interesting? That was one of my favorite gifts that I was given through Ernest Holmes. Was again like research. Oh, isn't that interesting? If we fail, go, wow, why didn't that work? Oh, I still think I'm a big piece of beep. If I'm really honest with myself. If I walk around thinking I'm a big piece of poo, and I step into a relationship, think about it, poo stinks. Who wants to hang out with something that stinks? Not many people. I don't. Your consciousness. I'm not talking about your body. Come on now. So get curious. Explore the interesting edges of your beliefs. And know that anything that feels negative, anything that feels crunchy, hard, is probably something that is seeking to be broken up. Break it up with some truth, with a word of affirmation, of love, acceptance, and willingness. It's an example that I cannot let go of just because it's still present in my life. Many of you know that my father's been struggling with cancer and had mesothelioma. 50 plus years ago, worked for maybe 3 months on a gig in between undergrad and graduate school, spraying asbestos. Breathed some of it in, camped out in his lung. Over 50 years later, boom. That dude works harder than I do still. Literally, he works more hours than I do. He's retired and still running a spiritual community. He wakes up every single morning, regardless of what his body is doing or not doing, and says, how can I be of service? How can I be an instrument of this thing called God that is already complete? Show me the completion of this day. Let me help complete you, God, today. How might your Monday be tomorrow if you woke up like that? Stay woke. And I'm going to close with a reading here. This comes out of towards the end of the book. The chapter is called God is Our Destiny. Most of us would perhaps agree that the majority of the problems besetting us have to do with the regrets for the past or fears of the future. I'm going to read that again. Most of us would perhaps agree that the majority of the problems besetting us have to do with regrets for the past or fears for the future. Usually at the present moment, we are all right. If we could live in this minute, content to know that the power of God is in operation and be willing to let that continue, there would be no concern about the past and very little about the future. In one way or another, we would know day by day what to do. If nothing else, let a spiritual mind treatment and prayer be something that activates you back into the present moment. Most of the teaching that I do in the secular world, people are concerned because they have high anxiety. Do you know what anxiety is? It's not being present. Think about it for a minute. The last time you were anxious about something, were you thinking about what was actually happening in front of you? Last time I got anxious, I used to be a preschool teacher. Okay, I was in the bathroom. Sitting on the toilet. What was I doing? Was I anxious about not going to the bathroom? Nope, that was happening. I was anxious about something 10 years now, a possibility that may or may not happen. That's what caused me anxiety. Most of the anxiety that we experience, the depression that we experience, the mental challenge, the blockages that we experience have nothing to do with what's really happening in the present moment. I don't minimize anything that may be happening in someone's current state of living. But oftentimes we are jumping out of the present moment. And to return to this idea of spiritual healing, spiritual truth and freedom, it's only in the present moment. When we connect to an idea of possibility and creativity, that's where things open up. When we do that, even if it's for a couple of seconds, we let go. We release the trappings of the past and the future and embrace the God that is here and present and now. So let's do that together in a moment of prayer. I invite you to bring your hand to your heart, touching the physical heart, this thing that is always beating and supporting you. But imagine, if you will, the non-physical heart that we associate with love, possibility, creativity, wisdom, awesomeness, godliness, abundance, flow, truth, power. This is what I recognize in this moment to be possible. These words have been spoken for ages. Power was no more existent 200 years ago than it is today. Power will continue to be just as existent 200 years from now. So let us just embrace the power that is here in this moment, the love that is here. Then you can identify it by using the word power, presence, God, intelligence, love, wisdom, wholeness. It matters not, but connect to the feeling just as you touch your heart. See if you can touch the sensation of the pulse of the law of possibility. It is beating within you. It is beating within me. It is beating within all of us, not because of any certain condition, other than the condition that God is complete in here and now. And so I affirm and bless this truth. God's job is complete, but our work is just beginning. We are here to accept and align and unify and let that express.
We've only just begun to find the truth within. Sit here now in this moment to believe that you can live in this love, in this sweetness we call life, that we've just begun to begin again, to know that happiness is here inside of you.
Happiness is a symptom of freedom. Watch yourself this week. Watch your mind and your heart and your attention this week. Step into mental freedom. Unshackle yourself from the paradigms that don't serve you anymore, and be willing to feel happy.
Sweet joy.
I'm so grateful in this moment to have taken some time together collectively today to embrace, to unify, to adjust our mind back into the space of truth that God is, God has always been and will continue to be, and that the work is done and we are here simply to let it unfold unto itself.
Sweet joy.
And so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Darrell Jones.
Woo!
Speaking truth. Yes. Say yes, say yes, say yes. Now will your heart and soul say yes? And will your spirit still say yes? Say yes, say yes.
So it's our time of giving. It's our time of sharing. Just so what I know is that with all that Reverend Darrell has shared, as we take active steps, we step forward into our life, into our work. We do not do it alone. We do it with the oneness, the God, the all that is all. It is present in and through all that is happening, whether it's the rockiest of roads or the joyous of celebrations. We are one with God, and God is one with us as we move through this. And as I know this truth, I also know that our community is one with us through these experiences. Our community is walking that walk with us and is here for us, supporting us and knowing this truth and knowing this joy. And so I just invite you to share your gifts and offerings for supporting this community. We are a community-supported organization, and so your gifts really make this happen. And if today is your day to give your financial gift, I just ask you to hold it. And we'll say our prosperity affirmation together, just affirming the good. If today is not your day to give, then I just invite you to receive. Just receive the consciousness, receive the love, receive the joy that is in the room. So I just ask you all to say with me the prosperity affirmation. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am. Just ask Lucy and Connie to pass the basket. If you want to text to give, you text the word GIVE to 312-757-8111. It will prompt you. If it's your first time, it'll prompt you for your payment method. If you've done it before, it'll just prompt you for the amount. So text the word GIVE to 312-757-8111.
Now will your heart and soul say yes? Will your spirit still say yes? And if I told you what I really need, would your heart and soul say yes?
Beautiful. Thank you, Tiffany. And I certainly say yes to that. And giving thanks for the flow of money and the reciprocal nature of the universe as what goes out comes in and what comes in goes out. So I just want to thank, wrapping up with a few announcements, thanking the service team for all the joy and energy that we brought this morning. Tiffany, Monique, Greg Woods, Dom, who's on our sound, Ted and Russ, who are working on live stream, Lucy and Judy, and Peter for helping set up, and Amy for everything she does, not only on Sundays, but all through the week to keep this community vibrant and alive and flowing. And to anybody who I may have left out, just God bless all your hearts and hands that made today possible. Thank you. If you're interested in volunteering, and we're always looking for volunteers. Oh, did I mention Peter? Peter, who was on the door. Thank you, Peter. If you're interested in volunteering, there's a yes and card that you can complete, or just see any one of us on the service team and we'll be happy to work with you. Or you can email info@cityside.me and we'll be happy to try to find the right role for you and plug you into our volunteer community. Again, if you're here for the first time, we want to thank you, and be sure to complete a yes and card out in the lobby, or if you're online, please visit our website and complete the online form so that we can stay in touch. We do have a newsletter that comes out. We do have a lot of activities and a lot of things happening, so we want to make sure you know about all those things. So please be sure we have your email address so we can stay in touch with you. We'd like to invite everybody to join our Facebook group if you haven't already. The Facebook group is a great way to plug into the community in another way during the week, and also as a way of hearing all the different things that are happening. So next week is our Reverend Louise Weldon. I think you're here, right, Louise? Where are you? There you are. So she'll be speaking with us next week, and the Sunday after is Russ, is that right? Yeah, so our own Russ Ligero will be speaking the Sunday after that. So right. Please come, please enjoy. We've got some powerful, powerful speakers on the theme of freedom this week. Anybody, we do have a little gathering after service today. Anybody interested in practitioner studies and CSL coursework, or anything like that, we're going to have a little info session right after the service. I think we'll do it in here, Amy, because I think we may be a little bit back and forth kind of putting things, and it's too hot back there. So we'll just meet back maybe in the corner there where the couch is. Anybody who's interested, just hang out back there. As you know, we do have to pack everything up after we leave here just because we are renters and other people use the space. And so what we've decided, what we've talked about is making the commitment to, just allow ourselves to have some community time, but probably long around noontime, we're gonna start packing things up. So if you're here and you wanna help, you're more than welcome to. We'd love to have the extra hands, but just be aware that that's, I think, our process. So we'll see how that goes. And now I'm just going to turn it over to Tiffany to pray ourselves home.
Thank you, John. Let's everyone stand up. Stretch your body a little bit. Sing along with me here. Take a deep breath in. Take in all those yummy thoughts and ideas that Reverend Darrell Jones gave us today. Oh, Your eyes make the stars look like they're not shining. Your hair falls perfectly without you trying. You're so beautiful, what? And I tell you every day. Thank you, I welcome that, please do. Yeah, I know, when I compliment you, you won't believe me. And it's so sad to think that you don't see what I see. But every time you ask me, do I look okay? You know I say, what am I gonna say? When I see your face, that's right, sing with me. There's not a thing that I would change. Why? 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. Even with that, don't it? And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. That's right, come on, give me some energy now. Oh, your lips, I could kiss them all day if you let me. And your laugh, don't you know I think it's sexy? And you're so beautiful, but I tell you every day. That's right, sing, 'cause I know you know the song. Oh, you know, I never ask you to change. And if perfect's what you're searching for, then just stay the same. So don't even bother asking if I look okay. You know I say, when I see your face, there's not a thing that I would change. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, oh, the whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. We're singing that again, come on. 'Cause when I see your face, what? There's not a, that's right, why? You're amazing, what? Just the you are, that's right, keep singing. And when you smile, what happens when you smile? The whole world stops and stares for a while. 'Cause you're amazing, just the way you are. Have a beautiful, beautiful Sunday, everyone.